tell us about Menu RX real quick.
Menu RX is great. Spoke with Dr. Jake May this morning. I'm getting the process started on bariatric surgery myself, but we were talking. I had a good week, dropped a few pounds this week, and we focused really on the positives, the good choices I made in the last week. And if you're looking to lose weight, if you're looking to find out what foods fuel your body better and will give you more energy, or if you're someone who's already in good shape but looking to get, even more fit as you're getting older, or more ripped, more cut, whatever you're looking for, Dr. Jake May and the team at Menu RX can help. They're actual doctors, scientists, people who know what they're talking about, not some crackpot on the internet telling you to, do something silly. So go to menu-rx.com, sign up for any of their plans, and if you do, you get a free 1-year membership to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. That's a $60 value for $0. Menu-rx.com.
All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about the new Browns Dome that is officially happening. The Browns put out all their
I feel like we've said this 13
press
times.
releases. They
That's
put out
officially
everything they
happening.
could.
Yeah.
They announced some new features to this new dome, and we got a couple different things I want to talk about regarding the dome. But first, some of the new features that we know, according to the Browns, will be coming to this new dome. They'll have the closest first-row seats in the entire NFL. They'll also have the closest last-row seats, so fans will be closer to the action than ever before. They'll have the biggest fan wall. It's going to be a story tall at one point of the stadium. They'll have the largest locker rooms in the NFL. They'll also have the largest concourses in the NFL. The Browns put out a tweet yesterday saying they're going to produce a 10-part podcast series called Building Brownstown, which to me means they want us to call the new area in Brook Park Brownstown.
Who is watching that?
The Browns
people will
officially
watch that,
tweeted it out.
Yeah.
Then they took back the tweet. However, to prove to you, Steve, just take tagboard full. We don't need sound for this. They erased the tweet, but they left the insignia in the top left, Building Brownstown. So that clearly was passed through some sort of creative process, even though they erased the tweet saying they're going to call the podcast Brownstown. Before we dive into the other stuff that is serious, will you ever be calling the Brook Park Dome area Brownstown?
Nah. Listen, man.
G. Cook.
This is a problem. Just let the cool people decide this, man.
Say Jimmy's not cool?
No, I'm talking about in general, the whole conglomerate. Like, these is the people that came up with them jerseys a couple years back, and they had to scrap them boys in the middle of the, this is trash.
Remember they used that term hardland for a little while?
And then they was doing dog check. I didn't know what it was. Then they was playing Friday the 13th music on third down, and all that was a nightmare for us because it kept being first down, Brian.
That was Dustin's idea.
Third down. Pass over the left side, 9 yards, first down, Baltimore Ravens. You're like, bro, stop playing that. They messed up the Unilot stuff all the time. Brownstown sounds horrible. It gives me chills up my spine because it's such nastiness. It's bland. It has no vision, no pizzazz, no heart. It doesn't describe your base. It gives you no excitement. Think about it. Where you guys going this weekend? Brownstown. What is that? We already got nasty colors. You want to just give us come on, bro. Ain't nobody coming to that. That's terrible, Earl.
That's where a suburban baseball travel moms go.
Yes, with vans, multiple vans, and they carpool.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
The second part of this that I want to address is the Browns announced they're going to go with They're going with turf, not grass. Right call to go turf, not grass. I've seen a lot of players come out and say they prefer the natural grass over turf. However, it's a lot harder to upkeep in a retractable dome situation. G, you played turf or grass. What's the right move?
Well, first and foremost, they were never going. Here's the reason why you weren't going to put grass down. Because if you want regular grass, it had to be retractable. You need sunlight to grow grass, despite what people think. I know that we have nanobots out here, and technology is great, and AI is alive, but we live in Cleveland. How often is it sunny? Never.
But the dome is going to be retractable.
Is this retractable? No.
I believe it is retractable.
I think it's going to be
It's
retractable.
a full glass dome. The ceiling is full glass.
Full glass.
It's not retractable.
It's not retractable. No.
I'm double checking.
All right.
It's a full glass ceiling.
Yeah,
It's not
all
a
right.
There's
retractable
like
dome.
5 or 6 days. One of them happens to be the day where it's sunny outside.
Yeah.
When you get to the fall part of the season, it's bad outside.
Yeah.
So you gotta have turf. Like what?
If
like,
it's not retractable, it had to be turf.
it had to be turf.
I don't know why I thought it was retractable. I can't.
I thought it was, for whatever reason, I thought it was too.
No, that I was hoping. I was wishing that not really? Because the retractable nature of it was going to add about another $1 billion to it.
I mean, you done came this far. Why not?
Right. You done pill it. Hey, listen. You done took all the hot lunches away from schools, but just maybe just.
Yeah, I mean, the governor will just give him another handout. Why not give him another $1 billion?
Hey, another $600 million. We get
They're already
that done.
paying for rich kids to go to private school. Why not, give the billionaire another $1 billion?
But that is even though I'm sitting here saying that, I've already come to the conclusion of, look, man, there's certain things above my pay grade that little old G. Bush can't change.
Man,
According to AI, the new Cleveland Browns Stadium will feature a retractable roof.
AI's never been wrong before.
That's true.
Where's these renderings? Because I could have told. I felt like it was like not.
It's on the screen, G. You're literally looking at that.
I'm looking.
All I'm saying is,
where's
as
there's a roof?
forthcoming. Look, the Browns ain't never been this forthcoming with anything, but they've been so specific and so detailed to every single thing that's surrounding Jimmy's World. That's what I'm gonna call it, because that's what it is. Cleveland is Brownstown. But surrounding Jimmy's World, that's not a retractable roof.
That's not
a full glass
That's
roof.
a full glass roof.
So AI lied.
Yeah, the Browns statement says the new enclosed Huntington Bank Field will be completely fan-centric. So
Told
I'm
you.
guessing enclosed means fully enclosed and not retractable.
Boom.
To your point, though, about
Yeah.
it not being affordable, I know this was a piece that was a little touchy yesterday. I think that's the part of it that I'm most concerned about, is that, local Clevelanders, common working folk, won't be able to afford to go to the game and enjoy themselves. I looked this up yesterday, and I think we talked about this about, a year and a half ago when this stuff first started. But as of June of 2025, the median income in the city of Cleveland is $39,187. And so that means that local residents of this city, if they want to travel out to Brook Park, to Jimmy's World to enjoy a Cleveland Browns game, 9.5 times out of 10, they probably won't be able to afford to do so. Now, somebody mentioned to me in the comments, well, if that's your median income, you shouldn't be focused on going to a Browns game anyway. I think that's a little disingenuous, because we live in a world to where everybody needs a break from reality. And since when is it because you're not rich, you shouldn't be able to go to a football game? I would be curious to know how many residents of the city of Cleveland are season ticket holders of the Cleveland Browns. I would be curious to know of how many residents of Cleveland purchased single game tickets to attend any of the games last year or the year before that. I'm worried about people that are diehard fans of this city that, this team has pretty much been built on, of the fandom of this city. And most of those people are common working folk, middle class, lower middle class people who probably in the next year or two will be able to experience their final chance to go to a Browns game. Somebody else tweeted at me today that they had season tickets, and right now they're already being outpriced for $2,000 upper deck seats. So I think one of the things that the Browns can do or should do, and Jimmy should do, you need to do whatever you can to make this as affordable for the fans as possible. You look at Arthur Blank and Atlanta. Atlanta has the cheapest concession in the entire NFL. The top three, Atlanta, Miami, and Baltimore, right? And you look at the cheapest average ticket per price, it's $196, also of the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Browns are not too bad there. They're fourth, I think, at $228 per seat. But you're gonna have to find a way.
But that's
to
meet. It's not what's going to. Yeah.
I know, but you're gonna have to find a way to meet the common folk in the middle somehow, some way.
But that's not gonna happen.
No, sadly, no.
And you gotta look at it. This is why I love this. People say, "Don't talk about these type." I talk about things that this applies to sports.
Yeah.
You can no longer say, "Oh, don't talk about political stuff," when, bro, it's a stadium. They're using state funds to get the money from it.
Yeah.
You look at a situation where inflation is still rampant. So even if you was making the same amount of money and everything stayed the same, you still probably wouldn't afford to be at it right now. They've pretty much priced I would hope, like, to me, I would love a section of the crowd or the audience be placed for, hey, we're gonna make sure that we're gonna make these tickets available to kids, to high schools, to people who are with disabilities, people who are working class people who don't have the means to do it. But it won't happen.
The powers that be don't care.
They don't care about that.
The state should have put something. We will give you this money, but you have to have a certain amount of seats for low-income people, for high school students, people with disabilities, whatever. They don't care. Nobody cares about that. Everybody's out for themselves these days. I put something about a billionaire getting a handout yesterday. You would have thought I committed a crime.
Wild.
It was wild, and I don't care. Like, and I appreciate Earl like backing me. People say mean things to me all the time. I say mean stuff to people sometimes, so I don't care. I got to put up with that. Now, if you notice carefully, I only say mean stuff to people if they were first nasty to me. I never do it preemptively, but that's nuance that people don't care about. But anyway, if I'm going to throw out nasty stuff, I can get it back, and I can handle it, and that's fine. But like, why would you get offended about me saying I don't want Jimmy Haslam to get a handout? People spin that into, I'm saying the Browns shouldn't get it. I don't care. We've given up the fight about keeping the stadium downtown. We knew that wasn't going to happen. I'm just saying he should pay. We've conditioned ourselves now as a society to think it's okay for billionaires to get all these breaks, while if the common folk gets any break, it's like, it's socialism. That's no good. Billionaires get socialism all the time when it benefits them. All the time. And nobody cares because the billionaires control everything. So that's it. And saying that Jimmy Haslam should pay his own way apparently is controversial.
I'll say this. I know Mayor Bibb put out a statement earlier today. Yeah. Dale Ryder had tweeted it out. Jimmy did force the city of Cleveland's hand and the city execs to finally be innovative and finally come up with a real damn plan to renovate the lakefront. And so if any pro comes out of this, that's a pro. Because to me, you got a bunch of people that are running the city of Cleveland that was wishing on a hope or banking on that stadium being down there as part of the renovation. And it made you lazy in planning, and it made you lazy in coming up with different things that can be attractive to the city of Cleveland. And so now your hand is forced to actually take the $150 million grant that you got to renovate that lakefront and come up with a real plan that's going to attract tourists, that's going to make people of the city of Cleveland more interested in going downtown to have a good time. So it'll be interesting to see now what the city does going forward, because the city now owns that stadium down there. And I don't want it to just be sitting there vacant next to a renovated science center and a renovated Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I know, Mike, we gotta close, but this is what happens when you have a lot of people who can't see the forest from the trees, because a plan should have been put in place 5 years ago that would have solved everything. If Jimmy knew that he wanted to move and build a new stadium, the city and the state probably should have did whatever, or just let him go do his thing, right? You could have took, instead of renovating Progressive Field and signing that new lease, you should have had a deal in place. Okay, they move out to Brook Park. We keep this stadium as is. We tear this down and we put a brand new retractable Progressive Field on the lakefront right next to the Science Center and a renovated Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Why? It'll solve two problems. The retractable roof, it'll help with attendance in April and May when the weather is still trash here. Yeah. Two, you get a summer venue with the roof open on a lake that concerts can come to. 4th of July is a thing downtown Cleveland. You go watch the fireworks down there. It would have been beautiful. And I think it would have been more to, bring more money or attention to the city of Cleveland. Yeah. And I just think nobody was forward thinking. I think everybody was.
I like that little playing.
It's a good idea. Right, I will say, in fairness, and I have some beefs with Mayor Bibb, but in fairness, he hasn't been mayor very long. The previous regime, Frank Jackson, who was here forever. I think there's plenty of complaints about his shenanigans.
It's just a lot of them. Yeah. I worked downtown, seemed like my whole life. I worked for the city, I worked for the county. And I remember working at the Justice Center the entire time I was there. It was always this plan to move the Justice Center to, revitalize downtown.
Right. Yeah.
Justice Center.
Nothing happened. Yeah. Hey, so Mayor Bibb has an opportunity to move the city forward in a different way. And obviously, any project to renovate downtown, I don't. Who knows the complications with that airport there? But if they can tear down the stadium and tear down the airport, that's a lot of land to. Obviously it's going to take a long time. I don't know, 10 years, whatever it's going to take.
40.
40 years?
And the airport's a ton of land.
40.
I mean, whatever it takes, we'll be dead in 40 years.
But here's the thing, like, Mike, it's a pro and con to that as well, right?
Yeah.
Because the air show is
Yeah.
one of my favorite events. My dad used to take me and my brother to see the Blue Angels every time they came. And so that's an attraction that Clevelanders enjoy. So the airport part of it, I'm torn in between, but I'm just saying where the Cleveland Browns currently sit now, that's a prized piece of land, and you got to be able to do something for it. And back in the day, when I was a little younger, I think Grand Prix used to actually come to Cleveland and race a road course there. So there's things that could be done even with that airport.
I hear you, but I think you need to tear that down. You can't keep it just for an air show once a year.
But it's not just that, though. There's a lot of people that come in here for medical research, medical study. You got to think Cleveland Clinic is one of the best hospitals in the world.
I mean, but the main airport is not that far.
It's not that far, but still, I mean,
but how far?
Like that right there.
I know, but if you fly from Burke to if you drive from
I'm
Burke
just saying it could be a reason why. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
It could be some things.
Think about what you could do with that whole lakefront. Turn it into what Chicago has, a smaller version of that. With houses and restaurants and it's
I hope I live to see it.
Yeah,
I hope I live to see it.
All right, Mike.
Speaking of Chicago, the Guardians played the